Hey there guys, so as Canelo Golovkin looks set for November 2 to air on DAZN, we will be looking to how Canelo Alvarez will deal with the size advantage that Kovalev will have. Now obviously Canelo will be packing on a little bit more weight, not necessarily a lot because even when he fights at middleweight he still looks like a super middleweight, and going up to light heavyweight I wouldn't imagine he would be gaining all that much more weight because obviously his attributes going into the fight will be his speed and movement. Now one thing he's going to have to do is try and maneuver his way past Kovalev's jab, because Kovalev, his jab is probably his best weapon, other than the fact that he is a very heavy puncher. So, Canelo is going to have to find his way past that. Now, for Canelo to maneuver his way past that jab of Kovalev, he's going to have to use his feet and his head movement in order to get into range, because remember, Kovalev is about 6'1" and Canelo is probably 5'8", 5'9" maybe. So that height will be a significant factor in the fight, only if Canelo allows it to be. But size doesn't seem to be a factor for a fighter like Canelo. He can move his head well, he has very good power, good speed, and good footwork. We saw that in abundance in the Danny Jacobs fight, where he was fighting a taller and bigger opponent, someone who was more physically imposing than himself. So Kovalev will also bring that to the table. Now Kovalev will probably punch harder than Canelo has ever experienced before, but Canelo did take the kitchen sink from Gennady Golovkin, so I wouldn't think that punching power would be too much of an issue for Canelo, especially considering his head movement. He probably won't be taking all that many power shots if he is able to move his head that well. I guess a legitimate concern for Canelo and his team would be that Kovalev just tries to box him boring, keep him on the end of the jab, and tie him up any time he gets on the inside. But I think it's quite possible that Canelo is physically strong enough for that not to be an issue, because I remember Andre Ward said that Kovalev was surprisingly weak when they got in the clinch. He was able to pull Kovalev about, which you wouldn't think considering that Kovalev was the bigger man. But he said that Kovalev was quite weak in the clinch, so Canelo will use that to his advantage. If Kovalev just tries to jab his way through the fight and grab hold anytime he tries to come in, Canelo can use his physical attributes to prevent that from happening. Now also, one thing that is going to be key for Canelo is the bodywork. And I think you guys would agree that when you are fighting a taller, bigger opponent, it is always key to go to the body. Especially against Kovalev, because anytime Kovalev seems to find himself in trouble, it's when he has been worked to the body. Andre Ward done that in the second fight when he stopped Kovalev. Also, Eleider Alvarez was touching the body against Kovalev leading up to the stoppage in their first fight. Also, Anthony Yarde had great success in the 8th round of their fight when he started working the body of Kovalev. He almost had Kovalev out of there in that fight, but Anthony Yarde ran out of steam in that fight. But ultimately it was the bodywork that led up to Kovalev being in trouble. And Canelo is a very good body puncher. That is the first thing that Canelo will target. Now obviously first things first, he has to work his way past that jab, and I think Canelo is good enough. He has good head movement, he has very good footwork also. He is good enough to maneuver his way past that jab. He just has to make sure that Kovalev doesn't tie him up on the inside. Now I believe that Canelo is going to just have to keep it simple. I know that sounds strange going in with an elite fighter like Kovalev, but I think the key to his success, keep it simple. Jab to the head, then jab to the body, maybe even double that jab up and come around to the side, use his angles, because Canelo is a faster fighter than Kovalev and he needs to work to his strengths. Canelo is very good at judging distance and finding that range. He can fight at the long range, he can fight on the inside, and also he can fight at that mid range. And going into this fight, Kovalev will try and box Canelo long, keep him at range and keep him on the end of that jab. He is extremely good at judging the distance when he is at long range. But that mid-range and on the inside, that is where Kovalev struggles, and that is where Canelo thrives. So ultimately, I think that will be Kovalev's downfall in this fight. I think that Canelo will stay close to him. He will not allow Kovalev to box at range, because Canelo done that against Golovkin. Golovkin was a fearsome puncher, but Canelo stood in front of him. He would not allow Golovkin to push him back, and the same applies against Kovalev. He cannot allow Kovalev to back him up. He cannot allow Kovalev to box at range. So that is why Canelo will be taking centre ring in this fight. If he does not, then Kovalev will keep him on the end of the jab until Canelo can find a way past it and get on the inside, or use that mid-range where Canelo will just need to shorten his punches up slightly. And obviously Kovalev, with longer arms, will not be able to trade so easily on the inside or at that mid-range, unless of course he shortens his punches up also, which of course is something that Kovalev is not used to. He's used to boxing at range and throwing wide hooks and long range boxing. So if Canelo is coming under those shots, then Kovalev is going to struggle to shorten up those punches in order to land on Canelo. I believe that Canelo will try and take Kovalev completely out of his comfort zone in this fight. So Canelo will be touching the body and trying to go for the body straight away, and it is my belief that Canelo will win this fight. I believe he will beat Kovalev, and I'm going for a mid stoppage, to be honest. I think 6-7 rounds. I think that Canelo will get him out of there. But guys, what are your thoughts on this? Canelo moving up and fighting Kovalev, and what is your prediction for the fight? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, click the thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Thanks guys.